fat guy's eyes lit up like lanterns, his whole body trembled, and he burst into laughter, looking like someone who had just been possessed. Just then, a peal of shrill laughter echoed from outside the cave, immediately drawing everyone's attention in that direction. The old emperor worked in leisurely, smirking and laughing as he went, saying, as expected, it's the aura of a clone. I thought this time I would have a hard time, but I didn't expect to easily find such a good deal. The old emperor glanced around at everyone, speaking in a peculiar tone. Tor, you all possess pure demonic energy, but you are not demon servants. Could it be that humanity has found a way to control demonic energy without changing its nature? How dare you? Who exactly are you? Yu Chengying shouted, preparing to charge forward, but Xing Yun suddenly raised his hand to stop him. He took a few steps forward and hesitantly said, Are you perhaps Lord Demon Master? The scene caused everyone from the Sea of Transformation to stare in astonishment, their eyes revealing fear, and they trembled violently, saying, Oh my God! Lord Demon Master. The old emperor smiled calmly and said, My goodness, that wasn't easy. I thought no one in this era would still recognize me. His eye settled on Xing Yun, and he said with slight surprise, Body possession. You must have done this out of desperation. For someone of your strength to only seize the body of an ordinary mortal Chinese letter like this truly is a tragedy. Xing Yun felt chills all over and, without a shred of doubt left, immediately prostrated himself on the ground, respectfully saying, Lord Demon Master, and the successor of Yanjai. Tor, Yanjai. You are his descendant. The old emperor looked surprised and said, he actually hadn't died back then. Xing Yun turned to everyone and said, This is the true Lord Demon Master, and also our master. What are you waiting for? Kneel. Since Xing Yun, the leader, had already knelt and called the person Demon Master, everyone immediately prostrated themselves one after another, shouting Master in unison. No one dared to doubt anymore. The old emperor asked, What happened to Yanjai after that? Xing Yun quickly replied, reporting to Lord Demon Master, although Yanjai didn't die that year, his demonic body was shattered. After escaping, he sealed his memories in the 72 demonic techniques, and also left behind a Demon Master's item to pass on to his descendants. I am the one who inherited this lineage. He pointed to the people behind him and said, They are all considered my disciples. Our lineage has been searching for Lord Demon Master's whereabouts for many years. Finally, heaven has granted our wish. The old emperor nodded gently and said, So that's what happened. It wasn't easy for you all to break the seal on this dragon transformation pond. Receiving a word of praise from the old emperor, Xing Yun trembled with excitement and said, As long as Lord Demon Master can return to the world, what does a little hardship matter? We discovered long ago that this dragon transformation pond was where Lord Demon Master was sealed. Unfortunately, the seal here was too strong, and years of effort yielded no results. My ancestor came up with a brilliant plan, start spreading rumors that the secret to becoming a god was hidden beneath the dragon transformation pond. Simultaneously, we secretly altered and fabricated countless ancient texts describing all sorts of mysteries about this place. This way, we drew the attention of the sacred realm and the Sea of Transformation, borrowing their strength to release your excellency. The old emperor frowned and said, Such a convoluted plan. You really are dedicated. However, I was not released by you all. The one you want to save is still sealed below. What? Xing Yun's face changed drastically as he said in shock, You're not the Demon Master. The old emperor smiled and said, Don't panic. I'm still the Demon Master. It's just that I was split apart and suppressed back then. I am only one part of it. There is another part under this seal, and also another part outside the dragon slaying area. Seeing his bewildered look, the old emperor laughed and said, Don't be nervous. Now you just need to help me open the seal so I can reabsorb this underground clone, and we'll be done. Xing Yun felt the pure demonic energy emanating from the old emperor, deciding it must be real, and nodded, saying, Des, Lord Demon Master. Having said that, he took a deep breath and began forming hand seals, using all his strength to break the seal. The old emperor praised him, You truly are not bad. I can see your true strength is very powerful. When I recover my true body, I will bestow upon you a demonic body, just like Yanjai back then, so you can become my demon servant. Thank you, Lord Demon Master, Xing Yun said, overjoyed. His hands executed the seals faster and faster, forcefully channeling energy into the earth's meridians, causing surges of demonic energy to pour out. The old emperor looked at the demonic energy and muttered, How strange. All of it is true demonic energy. Could it be that the person below has been crushed into dust by resentment? Just as he was pondering this, a terrifying shockwave suddenly came from outside the dragon-slaying area, causing the very ground to crack open. The combined attack of Zhu Yan and the emperor not only tore open the sky, but the shockwave also spread down to the mountain range, causing the entire range to collapse in large chunks. The scene was exactly like Doomsday. The seal in front also shattered completely, and countless streams of true demonic energy rose up, quickly gathering in midair. The old emperor trembled all over and burst out laughing. Poor heart. I finally escaped. He immediately shot into the sky to give chase. He flew straight up from the mountain range into the high sky. Just then, he suddenly saw something flying towards him from a distance, moving as fast as lightning. The old emperor frowned slightly and looked over. The flying object was precisely the ancient god battlefield. At the same time, a cold voice rang out, The clone dares to turn the tables and seize control. I'm not dead yet. He snorted. How is the main body and who is the clone? That's not something you get to decide just by saying so. The old emperor suddenly erupted with power, revealing his three-headed, six-armed armor image. The giant black shadow stretched out two long arms, attempting to retrieve the ancient god battlefield. The old emperor's pitch-black, ghost-like arm gripped the ancient tower tightly. He laughed coldly and said, "Have you gone mad? If you can use the ancient god battlefield, so can I. Trying to use it to crush me. Your mind really is lacking, or art, and you're conveniently giving me another divine artifact." An identical figure to the old emperor appeared in the air, though his face was as pale as paper. He said coldly, "It's still unknown who the real Mimon is." The old emperor looked at him and said, "Dor, your injuries are quite severe, aren't they? Which martial king beat you into this state? You're completely useless. If you damage my clone, I'll be furious." Just as he was still feeling smug, the emperor lord in the air lightly waved his hand. The ancient god battlefield immediately flared with brilliant light and soared high, his power growing stronger by the moment. The emperor lord couldn't help but smile excitedly, saying, "Porhar, you are the foolish one. If I hadn't prepared a little trick on it, why would I foolishly try to use it against you?" The old emperor was instantly terrified, his face bewildered. The light from the ancient god battlefield became increasingly dazzling, finally exploding. It directly shattered the old emperor's three-headed, six-armed armor image and devoured him whole. The emperor lord retrieved the ancient god battlefield and said coldly, "I'll spare your life for today. After I finish absorbing this clone, I'll return to deal with you." Although he had captured the clone, he was severely injured himself and found it difficult to fight the old emperor, so he chose to retreat into the wide world, invading all phenomena, Chinese letter IFICATION of myriad heavens. The old emperor suddenly roared in rage. In an instant, three identical figures appeared, shooting out from three directions straight towards the clone. "Dear Art, how can I let you succeed? You can leave, but leave that soul fragment behind. HMPH, an ant struggling before death. I originally planned to let you live a few more days, but who knew you would be so unwise?" The emperor lord shouted angrily. He also revealed his three-headed, six-armed armor image to attack the three figures. From afar, Liu Xiao watched in astonishment. The emperor lord's strength originally far surpassed the old emperor's, but after clashing with a Saint Realm expert, he was severely injured. Despite this, he could still fight on par with the old emperor. However, because he was both protecting the clone and resisting his injuries, he gradually fell into a disadvantageous position. Ting Yuan and his group watched with astonishment. The sudden appearance of two demon lords left them unsure how to react. Strictly speaking, there should be 3 demon lords in total. Lord Yu Changying, quickly strike and eliminate these 2 great demons, or the consequences will be unimaginable, the voice suddenly said. In the distance, Zhu Yan was seen gasping for breath, stuttering as if about to fall. Yu Changying's expression changed, and he said in a low voice, "Lord Zhu Yan, what exactly happened here? Did you cause the terrifying disturbance just now?" Zhu Yan spoke each word with great difficulty. "Yes, our prime ministry team intended to assassinate the demon but failed. Now he is severely injured. We beg the Divinity Transformation Sea to act and eliminate this demon to save the continent." "So that's how it is." Yu Changying's face gradually became covered in a dark aura. He said coldly, "Your mission is complete. You have worked hard over the years. Next, you should rest well." "Rest well?" Zhu Yan felt something was wrong as Yu Changying slowly flew closer. Yu Changying's expression suddenly turned ferocious. He swung his right hand, releasing a cleaving strike directly towards Zhu Yan, intending to kill him in one move. Yu Changying's eyes turned a bizarre black. He said in surprise, "Dor, you still have some strength left. I thought I could easily devour you." Zhu Yan looked at Yu Changying's pitch-black face in horror and said tremblingly, "Dor, you have BECOME Chinese letter IZED." Yu Changying continuously shook his head and said, "Nar, you misunderstand. We haven't BECOME Chinese letter IZED. We are simply practicing demon techniques. But for you, the outcome is still the same, death." After speaking, he swung his sword horizontally towards Zhu Yan again. "Dor," Ting Yuan suddenly frowned in the distance. The cleaving strike was blocked by Liu Xiao's celestial cold star sword. He turned and smiled at Zhu Yan, saying, "No need to thank me. I received some benefits from your subordinate, so I'm protecting you this one time." Liu Xiao looked at Xingyuan in surprise and then suddenly realized, "So it's you." Yu Changying asked in confusion, "Lord Xingyuan, do you know this person?" Liu Xiao remembered being in the South Sea, where Xingyuan had lost himself in the powder-colored stardust and was subsequently possessed. The possessor's cold gaze alone had sent shivers down his spine. He hadn't expected to meet him again here. Xingyuan clearly recognized him as well. After a moment of stunned silence, he looked strange and said, "In the South Sea, you were just a useless martial king. How could that last sword strike contain martial emperor-level sword or—" "But, the martial king?" Yu Changying asked in surprise. "Lord Xingyuan, could you be mistaken? How could a martial king possibly?" Xingyuan's expression darkened, and he said softly, "Do you think I would be mistaken? This kid definitely has something strange about him. Capture him first. If possible, don't kill him. Bring him back for research." Zhu Yan and his group all shivered upon hearing this, realizing that research clearly meant taking him back as a lab rat. "Research your ancestors." Liu Xiao was so angry he almost laughed. He didn't bother speaking much more and threw out the world god steel. He laughed as he said, I spared your life in the South Sea last time. Not only do you fail to kneel and show gratitude, but you dare to act so arrogant. Well, I'm a little curious about you too. I'll take you back for thorough research. Then, Du Yan's face turned pale upon hearing this, secretly thinking that this young man must also be the descendant of some crazy artifact refiner. Arrogant. Yu Chengying shouted coldly. The long sword in his hand immediately chopped straight down. Although he was only a one-star martial emperor, he was absolutely confident he could kill Lai Yingxiao. The arrogant one is **U**, a freezing cold voice suddenly said. Immediately after, two enormous feet stepped directly onto Yu Chengying's face. It turned out that Lai Van Tiu had released his two disciples long ago, without anyone knowing. Mo Tiu Zion sneered, Tor, not bad, not bad, the main character has finally decided to show up. His killing intent surged, and his cold eyes stared intently at Han Nguyen, emitting boundless killing horror. Han Nguyen was stunned, filled with questions in his heart. He couldn't understand how these two people had appeared, nor could he comprehend that strange mysterious artifact. Lai Van Tiu glanced worriedly at the sky, where the two demons were fighting chaotically. The battle between them was intense, making it difficult to distinguish one from the other. This was perhaps the best opportunity to take advantage of the situation. He looked at everyone and said, Gentlemen, I don't know what you're plotting, but surely you don't want to become slaves to those two demon leaders. We might as well put aside our fighting for now, wait for the two demon leaders to decide the victor, and then deal with them together. After that, we can settle our grievances. Han Nguyen and Wei Than both showed disdain, thinking to themselves, who was it earlier who said they wanted to capture me for research? This kid changes his mind faster than flipping a rice paper pancake. Han Nguyen curled his lip in mockery and said, daring to speak of exterminating the demon lord, truly ignorant to the extreme, not knowing life from death. We cultivate demon techniques, and the demon lord is the deity we revere. Lai Van Tiu chuckled softly and replied, stop twerking nonsense. It's true you cultivate demon techniques, but you are completely different from the slaves of those two demon leaders. Do you really want to lose your sanity? Han Nguyen said coldly, stop trying to sow discord here. No matter what, we must eliminate obstacles like you first. He waved his hands in front of his chest as different demonic technique seals gradually appeared. Parley and Thier Hong snorted coldly, clenching his hands, ready to strike. The three sides were locked in a tense standoff, taut like a bowstring. Just then, a tragic scream suddenly echoed from the horizon. It was the voice of Emperor Lord. Everyone looked up in shock, only to see two demonic figures fighting fiercely. It seemed that the difference in strength had emerged. Emperor Lord was too severely injured to fully unleash the ancient god battlefield, becoming weaker with each strike. The scream just now was because the third clone had been stolen by the old emperor. However, it's finally mine. I wanted to play with you a little longer, but this clone is about to awaken. My apologies, I'll have to eat it first. After successfully obtaining it, the old emperor didn't want to linger further. The clone, during their struggle, maintained a cold expression, seemingly not fully conscious because it had been suppressed for too long. The old emperor extended both hands, grabbing and plunging them straight into the clone's chest. Then, he used force to pull his hands forcefully apart to both sides. But the smile on his face suddenly froze, his eyes widening in astonishment as he looked inside the clone. His entire body shook violently, and he cried out in alarm, this is just an empty shell. There's even a demonic explosion formation in here. Intricate patterns appeared in the clone's chest, radiating dazzling light. You beast, quickly return the clone to me. Emperor Lord still hadn't realized what was happening. His eyes were bloodshot as he charged forward, screaming. The old emperor's expression became increasingly unpleasant. Shut up, you fool. You held it for so long and didn't realize it was fake. You really are a pighead. He didn't bother to say more and immediately threw the body toward Emperor Lord, coldly saying, if you like it so much, take it. Emperor Lord looked bewildered. Before he could understand what was happening, the moment the body was thrown, it began to radiate an intense light. Beams of light shot out like crescent moons, engulfing the void. The entire sky instantly plunged into darkness. Not a single ray of light could be seen. Both the old emperor and Emperor Lord were swallowed by it. The entire world sank into endless darkness. The crowd below was also startled by this sudden change, standing frozen like statues. For a moment, no one dared to move because their eyes couldn't see any light at all. At this moment, even fire could not illuminate. Everywhere was filled with dense dark light. This dark phenomenon lasted for about the time it takes to drink a cup of tea. After that, the black aura in the sky gradually dissipated, but there was no sign of anyone in the air. It was unclear what had happened to the two demon leaders. Are they dead? Han Nguyen was the first to show panic. In his mind, the demon lord was an invincible existence in the world, indestructible and immortal. How could he possibly be blown up and killed like that? Lai Van Tiu said with a serious expression, they might not be dead, but they must be severely wounded. Perhaps they've hidden somewhere. His eyes scanned the surroundings, and he said, the slaves demonized by the old emperor haven't died yet, which proves their master is still alive. What about the other great demon and that sacred artifact? If the master died, the sacred artifact would become motionless and float in the sky. But there's nothing there, so those two must have escaped. Now I'm just afraid they are on their last breaths, he said in a low voice. I really didn't expect those two demon leaders to be ambushed by someone else. If the clone was fake, where did the real one go? Hearing this, Han Nguyen couldn't help but look at Lai Van Tiu several more times. He hadn't expected this person's thoughts to be so intricate. His gaze became complicated. Suddenly, the sound of loosening earth and rock echoed not far away. Everyone was immediately startled, their bodies tensing up as they looked over cautiously. They saw a plant slowly crawling forward, causing the surrounding earth to burst open as it moved. The entire black plant emanated a gloomy radiance. Just looking at it sent shivers down one's spine, as if a chilling wind from the underworld had blown past. Harley and Thuhone asked tremblingly, "What in the world is that?" The plant swelled rapidly at a visible speed, and before long, it bore fruit, each piece radiating dense demonic energy. Lai Van Teru exclaimed in surprise, "The demonic argent fruit." He had also collected one within the divine steel realm, only knowing that this item was incredibly bizarre but unaware of its function. The individuals who had previously been demonized suddenly widened their eyes, their expressions as if they had just seen the most delicious delicacy under heaven. They cried out and scrambled to rush forward, continuously calling out "Master." Their bodies were immediately tightly bound by those branches. In just the blink of an eye, all of them were completely swallowed inside. Suddenly, the fissure appeared on the demonic origin fruit, and a beam of black light shot out from it. The chilling thing was that inside, there was a figure whose face was exactly identical to the two great demons, and a sinister smile played at the corners of its mouth. The great demon opened its eyes and began to recite incantations. Runes flew into the air, expanding infinitely. On the ground, 7 demonic argent fruits of varying sizes continuously sprouted. The terrifying scene immediately unfolded. Each demonic argent fruit began to crack and shatter. Inside each fruit, identical figures were revealed, differing only in size according to whether the fruit was large or small. The aura of those great demons also differed. The one standing in the middle laughed coldly and said, "Those two foolish individuals truly underestimated me." D-stroke letter 1 EBFD letter 1 EA1. A sharp glint flashed in D-stroke letter 1 EBFD letter 1 EA1's eyes, containing demonic energy surging like a bottomless abyss. He glanced around at the sky, then frowned and said, "That's odd. Why is one missing? Where did it go?" Lai Van Teru stood frozen, cold sweat dripping from his hands. H letter 1 EA1 D letter 1 E5 Nam also secretly glanced at him, wanting to speak but hesitating, because he was the only one there who knew that Lai Van Teru had taken the demonic argent fruit. The great demon's gaze swept down below, and he said coldly, "There's still one fruit remaining. Poor Manhwa has seen it." His expression grew darker and darker as he continued, "Do you think I don't know just because you stay silent? The person who hid the fruit is dragging everyone else into certain death. How heartless of you." Panangayan quickly stepped forward and said, "Demon Lord, I am the descendant of the demon deputy Damtich from back then." The great demon's gaze rested on him, and he gave a cold smile, saying, "Thor, a descendant of Damtich. That's excellent. Since you have some connection to me, I'll send you on your way first to make things neat." He raised his hand and unleashed a palm strike. The mass of demonic light flashed and descended. Panangayan's expression changed, both shocked and angry, as he said, "You are not Demon Lord Emperor." The great demon laughed proudly and said, "Barhart, Demon Lord Emperor has long since vanished from this world. From now on, just call me D-stroke letter 1 EBFD letter 1 EA1. I am the true Demon Lord of this year." His laughter suddenly ceased, and a flash of fierce light flickered in his eyes. The corners of his mouth curled up mockingly, and he laughed coldly. "So you finally couldn't help but reveal yourself, Pub, or art. How ridiculous. Even intelligent beings like you want to absorb and refine me. What a timeless joke." D-stroke letter 1 EBFD letter 1 EA1 waved his hand, and a surge of power swept directly toward the black shadow, trapping him in place. "Bastard, let me go." The black shadow that was trapped was none other than D-stroke letter 1 EBF Quan. When D-stroke letter 1 EBFD letter 1 EA1 attacked, he had tried to flee but was still imprisoned. At this moment, he resembled a dying lamp. Although he growled fiercely, everyone knew he was exhausted and couldn't possibly escape. D-stroke letter 1 EBFD letter 1 EA1 laughed coldly and said, "Since you are a part of me, how could I let you escape? I only attacked those humans just now to force you to reveal yourselves." Sure enough, the fool came crawling out on his own. D-stroke letter 1 EBF Quan roared in fury, "If you want to absorb me, I'd rather self-destruct my true demonic argent, and we'll perish together." D-stroke letter 1 EBFD letter 1 EA1 coldly snorted, "You need to have the opportunity to self-destruct first." He immediately opened the fruit and swallowed D-stroke letter 1 EBF Quan inside to refine him. Below the formation, H letter 1 EA1 D letter 1 E5 Nam suddenly said anxiously, "Lord H letter 1 E9 A D I letter 1 EC5 M, what should we do now? If D-stroke letter 1 EBFD letter 1 EA1 finishes absorbing that demon, the strength will skyrocket, and we'll die even sooner." H letter 1 E9 A D I letter 1 EC5 M could only laugh bitterly and shake his head, saying, "My vital energy has been completely depleted. I cannot recover in a short time. What else can we do?" He looked over at Lai Van Teru and asked, "Den brother, do you have any ideas?" Lai Van Teru's eyes flashed with determination as he said, "Why don't we retreat right now? While D-stroke letter 1 EBFD letter 1 EA1 hasn't finished refining, you probably won't have time to pay attention to us. If we don't leave immediately, we're truly all going to die. The only problem is knowing how to break through that demonic cloud." H letter 1 E9 A D I letter 1 EC5 him nodded and said, "I thought so too. I've been observing the demonic cloud for a while, but I haven't seen a way to break it. When I implemented the Lessa Heavenly Absolute formation before, I managed to breach a hull, but unfortunately, the formation equipment is now damaged, and I no longer have the strength to set up another formation. While everyone was still despondent, a husky voice with a hint of pain suddenly rang out. You won't be able to break through this demonic cloud. It has almost completely sealed off heaven and earth, unless you have the ability to cut through a realm, or let me lend a hand. Demon. Everyone was alarmed and looked in unison at the sound source. It was the old great demon Destrucletter 1 EBF Ja, sitting cross-legged knee by regulating his breathing. His aura weak, it seemed about to expire. Wait. Live Van Terror suddenly shouted. He stepped toward Destrucletter 1 EBF Ja, casually put his arm around his shoulder, and smiled. Demon Lord, so you finally agreed to sit down and talk properly with us. Destrucletter 1 EBF Ja's face turned pale. He snorted coldly and said, don't rush to ridicule me. The winner becomes king, and the loser becomes a bandit. This time, I truly lost. But right now, we are in the same boat. We must cooperate. Everyone must die. Whether I am absorbed by the clone or you are all killed by him. No one wants to see either outcome. Liu Xiao nodded and said, that's true. So how do you plan to help me break through the demonic cloud? Daijir said, I no longer have the strength to directly break the demonic cloud. I must rely on your strength. But I know how to break it, and as soon as the demonic cloud shatters, we can easily escape. Liu Xiao said, that's wonderful. Please tell me the method to break it immediately. We probably don't have much time left. He extended his hand towards Daijir, smiled, and said, why don't we put away our weapons for now and turn conflict into cooperation? Daijir looked at his hand. His face also blossomed into a bright smile, and he extended his hand to grasp it, saying, Bar. Naturally,